video, we will talk about molarity and normality. What is the basic difference of molarity and normality? So जब हम molarity and normality बोलते हैं तो तब both are volume dependent, right? So ये दोनों ही same हो जाता है kind of, because both are volume dependent, right? But there is a basic difference between molarity and normality. Let's look at it. So first we will talk about molarity, then we will go to normality in the next upcoming slides. So first we talk about molarity. What is molarity? As it is written on the board, as you can see, number of moles of solute per liter of solution. So in the numerator, ये न्यूमिनेटर में क्या होगा, सोल्यूट होगा, सोल्यूट का मोल होगा, एंड इन द डिनोमिनेटर वी विल हैव सॉल्यूशन. इट्स नॉट सॉल्वेंट, इट्स सॉल्यूशन. Okay, so number of moles of solute over volume of solvent. And we basically know that molarity, normality, ये सारे होते हैं concentrations, right? And we know concentration होता है N upon V. So molarity ये होगा number of moles of solute upon volume of solution. So इसको मैं ऐसे भी लिख सकता हूँ N of solute, that is mole number over volume. ये वॉल्यूम किस में होगा, लीटर में. जनरली क्वेश्चन में दिखेंगे मिलीलीटर में, ml में, but what we have to do is we have to convert that those into liter, right? Then we can solve the question. So let's see. In this you can see what is number of moles. Numerator में क्या था, number of moles over volume of solution, not solvent, it's solution. Now what is number of moles? How to calculate that? It's easy, right? It's mass upon molar mass. So this is the mass, that is whatever the mass given to the question over molar mass of that particular substance. Now there is a question, as for example there is a question, find molarity of 58.5 gram of sodium chloride in 250 milliliter of solution. Suppose हमने सोडियम क्लोराइड को पानी में डाल के एक सॉल्यूशन बनाया, एंड दैट सॉल्यूशन इज हैविंग 250 मिलीलीटर वॉल्यूम, एंड कितना है सोडियम क्लोराइड, कितना लिया, 58.5 ग्राम. नाउ लेट्स ट्राई टू सॉल्व द मोलरिटी. दैट मीन्स वी हैव टू फाइंड द कैपिटल M, मोलरिटी. सो फर्स्ट what we have to do is we have to find the number of moles, because numerator क्या है, number of moles, denominator क्या है, volume. Volume तो already given है. So let's talk about the volume. What is the volume? That is 250 milliliter. Now as I told you that milliliter को हमें लीटर में कन्वर्ट करना होता है, right? So कितना होगा ये 250 milliliter over 1000, that will be 0.25 liter, right? So आ गया हमारा वॉल्यूम ऑफ द सोल्यूशन, दैट इज द डिनोमिनेटर. नाउ न्यूमरेटर क्या है, नंबर ऑफ मोल्स. नंबर ऑफ मोल्स क्या होगा यहाँ पे, देखो नंबर ऑफ मोल्स होता है मास ओवर मोलर मास. व्हाट इज द मास? मास इज 58.5 ग्राम over what is molar mass. How to calculate molar mass? We have sodium chloride, that is molar mass of sodium plus molar mass of chlorine, right? So what is sodium's molar mass? That is 23 plus chlorine का क्या होता है 35.5. And trust me, after solving questions of different like molecular weight and molarity and all this stuff, so ये जो होता है ना like molar mass, so क्या होता है किसका molar mass, atomic mass किसका होता है, वो automatic याद आ जाएगा after you solve. You have to just solve lots of questions. So ये होगा gram per mole. So mass over molar mass. So we will get 58.5 gram over, if you just add this two, you will get 58.5 again gram per mole. This will get cancelled out and it will become 1. देखो ग्राम ग्राम कैंसिल हो गया, so ये आ गया मोल. So कितना आया, 1 mole in 0.25 liter, right? 1 mole in 0.25 liter. But what is molarity? If I go back, just check it. What is molarity? Per liter of solution. That means 1 liter पे कितना होगा. Now we'll go to the next question, like this question. So 0.25 liter पे कितना मोल है, 1 मोल. 1 लीटर पे कितना मोल होगा, 1 by 0.25, 0.25, right? That will be 4. So molarity कितना होगा इसका, so molarity will be 4. So molarity capital M, मैं यहाँ पे लिख रहा हूँ, capital M will be 4. Now what is the unit of molarity? Concentration, right? Moles per liter. It will be moles per liter. Okay, this will be the answer. 4. Now that's all about molarity. Now let's go to normality. Now it's normality. See, as I told, molarity और normality kind of same होता है, just denominator थोड़ा सा different होता है. Let's look at it. So what is normality? Normality is number of gram equivalents of solute. उस पे क्या था, number of moles of solute. इस पे क्या है, number of gram equivalents of solute. So number of gram equivalents of solute per liter of solution. Again same, number of gram equivalent of solute upon volume of solution, same है. ओके उस पे क्या था, मोलरिटी पे नंबर ऑफ मोल्स बाय वॉल्यूम ऑफ सॉल्यूशन, ये भी सेम होगा. और इस पे भी सेम है कि पर लीटर, दैट मींस 1 लीटर ऑफ वॉल्यूम हमें लेना है. Suppose 250 milliliter is given or 500 milliliter is given, we have to convert it to liter, and then 1 liter में कितना होता है वो we have to calculate. Okay, now before going to that, we know what is number of moles. How to find that number of moles? Mass upon molar mass, ये होता है number of moles. But there is a question that how to find number of gram equivalent. Moles तो पता है, but what about gram equivalent? For that we have this formula. That is number of gram equivalent is equals to mass upon equivalent mass. वहां पे क्या था, mass upon molar mass. मैं यहाँ पे लिख रहा हूँ mass upon molar mass. ये क्या था, number of moles. We know this, right? Mass upon molar mass from the last slide. So ये होता है number of moles. But यहाँ पे क्या है, number of gram equivalents. That is this. So ये होगा mass upon equivalent mass, and equivalent mass is denoted by capital E, not M. Molar mass is denoted by capital M. Equivalent mass is denoted by capital E, right? Now, what is that equivalent mass? To find normality, see, to find normality, we need to find number of gram equivalents, right? To find number of gram equivalent, we have to find equivalent mass. Now, coming to equivalent mass. So, equivalent mass is generally denoted by E, which is nothing but molar mass by N factor. What is N factor? That is valency factor. We will see that in the next upcoming slides, right? So molar mass by N factor. What is molar mass? Molar mass is nothing but capital M. This one is molar mass by N factor. N factor is also called valency factor. For different substances, we have different N factors, right? So let's go to the next slide. Okay, so there is N factor. Now for acids, for bases, for salts, we have different types of N factors. How to solve that? So let's talk about the acid first. So if you look at acid, what is the N factor or the valency factor? It's the number of H plus. Acid में, suppose sulfuric acid, hydrochloric acid, you have to find out number of hydrogen, that is H plus ion. उसको बोलते हैं basicity 2. We can call it basicity as well. That is number of H plus is basicity. इसमें गलती होता है. That is number of H plus is not acidity. Number of H plus is called basicity of that particular acid. And number of OH minus is the acidity of particular base. That's it. So if I talk about the acid, it will be the number of H plus, or we can say basicity. As for example, there is a question. Just look at the question. Find equivalent mass or equivalent weight of sulfuric acid. Now first, let's find the molar mass. Molar mass, that is capital M of sulfuric acid. क्या होगा? 2 times hydrogen, that is atomic mass of hydrogen, plus 1 into atomic mass of sulfur, plus 4 into atomic mass of oxygen, right? So 2 into, what is the atomic mass of hydrogen? That is 1, right? 1 plus 1 into, what is the atomic mass of sulfur? That is 32. It will be 32. Just you need to remember a few. Now 4 into oxygen. What is oxygen? That is 16. So ultimately, if you just add all this, you will get 98 gram per mole. Okay, so this will be the molar mass, that is 98 gram per mole. Okay, now we got the molar mass. Now we have to find what? We have to find the N factor or the valency factor. So what will be the N factor here? N factor will be just the number of H plus, because see, for acid, number of H plus or basicity. What is the basicity of sulfuric acid? If you look at it, 2H plus, right? If I just dissociate this sulfuric acid, it will become 2H plus plus SO4 2 minus, right? 2H plus SO4 2 minus. How many H plus? 2H plus. So N factor will be 2. Therefore, equivalent weight, we know it's equal to molecular weight or the molar mass over N factor, that is 2. So it will be 98 upon 2. So it will be for 49, right? 49. So equivalent mass will be 49. Okay. In this way, you can solve this. Now, the next, suppose I have base. So in case of base, what we'll have to do? So for base, the N factor will be the number of OH minus ion. For acid, it was number of H plus ion. For base, it will be number of OH minus ion, or we can call it sometimes acidity as well. So for base it will be acidity, for acid it will be basicity, right? Now let's talk about the one question, that is find equivalent mass of CaOH whole twice, that is calcium hydroxide. We know that is a base, right? Let's first dissociate it. OH whole twice. So it will be so if I just dissociate it, it will be calcium 2 plus 2 OH minus. That means how many OH minus are there? It will be 2. That means the acidity of calcium hydroxide is 2. Now, if I just find the equivalent weight or equivalent mass, that will be nothing but the molar mass. Molar mass, you can find out molar mass from this, right? Molar mass by, so calcium plus 2 times oxygen plus 2 times hydrogen. In this way, you can solve this molar mass over N factor. So what is the N factor? 2. So it will be molar mass of what? Of calcium hydroxide upon 2. This will be the equivalent mass of calcium hydroxide, right? Now we are done with acid, we are done with base, how to find the equivalent mass. Now let's solve about let's talk about salt. Suppose I have salt. Now what is salt? Salt ये होता है कि acid and base मिलकर जो बनाता है, that is called salt. Okay. Now what will be the N factor for salt? It will be the charge of cation. So we can also take the charge of an ion as well, but you have to take the total charge of either cation or an ion. या तो cation ले लो या तो anion ले लो. That's up to you. So I have taken the cation. You can take the anion as well, but cation का easily हो जाता है, so इसलिए cation. Total charge, अगर charge 2 plus है तो 2 plus लेना होगा. Okay, in this way. तो total charge of cation. So we can write here total. Sorry for that. Total charge of cation. Okay. Now there is a question so that you can understand it. So find equivalent mass of copper sulfate. Now let's talk about copper sulfate. What is copper sulfate? Copper sulfate is salt, neither acid nor base. It is a salt, right? So copper sulfate का पहले molar mass निकालते हैं. What will be the molar mass? Copper, that is this, plus sulfur, this, plus O 4 times oxygen, that is 4 times 16, right? So it will be 63.5, which is nothing but the atomic mass of copper, 63.5, plus sulfur. Sulfur का कितना होता है? 32 plus 4 times 16, that is 64. So in total it will be 159.5 gram per mole. This will be the molar mass of copper sulfate. Now let's find the N factor. N factor. What will be the N factor? Just look at the formula. Total charge on cation. अगर इसको dissociate करें तो क्या आएगा? If I dissociate it, it will become copper 2 plus SO4 2 minus, that is copper 2 plus ion, cation, and in the case of anion it will be sulfate, SO4 2 minus, right? So copper 2 plus SO4 2 minus. Now we have to look at total charge of cation. कितना है total charge? 2 plus, so just write 2. Therefore what will be the equivalent mass? So equivalent weight or equivalent mass will be molar mass upon 2, that is 159.5 by 2. This will be the equivalent mass, right? So in this way you can find the equivalent mass. Now why am I solving this equivalent mass? To find the number of gram equivalent. Now let's go back to the slide of normality. Yeah, so can you see what is normality? Number of gram equivalent of solute by volume of solution. Now number of gram equivalent के लिए what we have to do is mass by equivalent mass. Now we got it. What is equivalent mass? समझ आ गया, right? What is equivalent mass? बस अभी equivalent mass denominator में होगा, numerator में क्या होगा? Mass. In this way you can find the number of gram equivalent just like the number of moles. So हमने एक question solve किया था in case of molarity. This question, find molarity of 58.5 gram NaCl solution in 250 milliliter volume of the solution. So ये था molarity का. Same question हम normality के लिए solve करेंगे and हम ये देखेंगे कि normality में ये क्या होता है. Okay. So this is the question. Find normality of 58.5 gram NaCl solution of 250 milliliter. Now N, we have to find normality N, right? So for that first let's solve molar mass, that is molar molecular weight. Molar mass, what will be the molar mass? Na plus Cl, that is we have already solved 58.5 gram per mole, right? That will be the molar mass. Now we have to find n factor. To find what? Equivalent mass. So what will be the n factor? देखो सोडियम क्लोराइड कैसे डिसोसिएट होता है? सोडियम क्लोराइड Na प्लस प्लस Cl माइनस है क्या ये खुद? ये सॉल्ट है ना. Na प्लस Cl माइनस एंड सॉल्ट के लिए क्या था? n फैक्टर का फॉर्मूला दैट इज टोटल चार्ज ऑफ कैटायन. व्हाट इज द टोटल चार्ज ऑफ कैटायन? प्लस 1, नथिंग एल्स. सो n फैक्टर विल बी 1. मोलर मास आ गया, n फैक्टर आ गया. What we can calculate from this? We can calculate equivalent mass, right? Equivalent mass, E. What is that? Molar mass, that is 58.5 over n factor, that is 1. It will be also 58.5. ये आ गया equivalent mass. Equivalent mass is this gram per mole. Gram per equivalent, number of gram equivalent. Okay? ये आ गया equivalent mass. As soon as I got equivalent mass, we can find number of gram equivalent. Therefore, number of gram equivalent will be mass over equivalent mass. That is mass given in the question over equivalent mass. That is, what is the mass given? 58.5 gram by कितना होगा? E है 58.5 also. Gram per equivalent, right? So it will be 1. Number of gram equivalent कितना आया? 1. Now if I got a number of gram equivalent, that is 1. Now what is the volume of the solution? 250 ml. Now let's do this. So volume is given, that is 250 ml. What we have to do? Just remember. So we have to convert it to liter, right? So 250 ml by 1000. So it will be 0.25 liter, right? Liter में आ गया. Gram equivalent कितना आया था? Number of gram equivalent 1. So 0.25 liter contains 0.25 liter contains 1 gram equivalent. जैसे वहां पे क्या था? 0.25 liter contains 1 mole, right? 1 mole. यहाँ पे क्या है? 0.25 liter contains 1 gram equivalent. If so, then therefore 1 liter contains, we have to find this, 1 liter. 1 liter contains 1 by 0.25, right? So it will be 4. So the normality I found is 4. See, the molarity is also 4 in the first slide, right? Molarity was also 4. यहाँ पे normality भी 4 है. क्यों? क्योंकि यहाँ पे n factor क्या है? n factor is 1. n factor is 1. So if n factor is 1, normality will be equal to molarity because n factor 1 हो गया. So equivalent must be same हो गया as molar mass, right? So in this way we can find out normality and molarity, and this is a basic difference. And one more thing, that is, if I talk about normality, there is a term that is called deci normal. Deci normal. In most of the questions you will see that deci normals will be there. Deci normal. What is deci normal? Deci normal is nothing but n by 10. कभी कभी ना deci normal लिखा रहेगा, कभी भी n by 10 लिखा रहेगा. So if it is written as 1 n by 10, that is nothing but 0.1 normal. Okay? अगर कहीं भी देखा रहेगा ना कि deci normal solution, that is nothing but 0.1 normal. That means the normality of that particular solution is 0.1. Decimolar क्या होता है? Decimolar 0.1, right? So same, deci normal will be 0.1. So normality and molarity both will depend on this mass, and both are volume dependent. Second, and third point is both are temperature dependent, because this molarity and normality both will depend on volume. So they will depend on temperature, because from Charles' law we know that volume is directly proportional to temperature from Charles' law of gaseous state, right? So volume is directly proportional to temperature. That means volume is temperature dependent. So molarity and normality both will be temperature dependent. Okay. So this is all about normality versus molarity. Thank you so much.